The Walt Disney Company has been taking a beating. If you watch this channel, well, you know that. And we have covered it at great length, in high resolution, with clarity, and not going into crazy world. Yes, we are covering, of course, the downfall of Disney. We are also highlighting at times when they do well, and we hope they do well at a much higher frequency in the future. We need more Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We need more Avatar: The Way of Water. We need more even Typhoon Lagoon, which is one of the few bright spots left at the Walt Disney World Resort. But today we're going to be talking about a situation, a leak out of someone close to Disney who says that they know why the House of Mouse is unable to make a course correction, and it may be so broad and so important that other companies out there, even you entrepreneurs out there, should listen carefully to this one. All right, folks, welcome back to another beautiful day here on the WDW Pro channel. It is a joy each and every time you elect to join us. A pleasure as always. And folks, we endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. Once again today, we have a big scoop, a leak if you will, and we are ready to share it with all of you. Before we do, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe. And when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Joining me to talk about this very big subject that we need to dive into is Fat Steven. He is the artist supreme behind this channel, Valiant Renegade, That Park Place, and he also does video game streaming. I highly recommend him if you are looking for new gaming content to subscribe to. Steven, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope you're having a great day.
Well, I am, and let's just get straight into this, folks. As you know, it has been borne out time and time again that when we bring these scoops to you, they tend to come true. We have a heck of a track record, not trying to toot our own horn here. We're just saying that, well, we're trying to bring you the real stuff. And in this case, we have three different sources who have reached out to me to talk to me about why Disney is unable to course correct. We're going to be reading specifically from one of them. And we will just read straight the email that I've got here. And I think this will be very fascinating for all of you who can't understand, why is Disney devoted to DEI? Why is Disney devoted to divisive content? Why do they have these not so secret agendas aimed at children? Well, we've got some answers. And here is what it says, straight from a source, very, very highly connected inside the industry. Very high. It says, Disney is in trouble because sports and parks can no longer finance the losses being incurred elsewhere. Disney Plus, all the studios lost licensing revenue, etc. ESPN went woke and the parks are now down, so there is no backstop for all the ailing divisions and the totally off-the-rails spending. It's a free fall. By the way, Stephen, we just got word out that the one division we thought was doing well, the cruise lines, lost hundreds of millions of dollars in the last quarter. That's probably preparing investors so they don't freak out when that comes out during the next earnings call. This continues to say, again, you would think that they would rapidly cut back on the damaging stuff, make peace with Florida, but that's not really happening, and it's unlikely to change. It says, the people I know, and then list some of those people, we won't be calling that out, tell me that so much of the rank and file are totally oblivious to the impact, the agenda, we're not going to talk about what agenda it is, but the agenda, and other DEI stuff has had. It's everything except that's causing the downfall, according to those people who work at the highest levels of Disney. A research subcontractor I know spoke to some brand people over at Disney, and the problem here is that you can't say out loud the drain has come in part because of the DEI, the agenda, the woke stuff that the company has done. You're not allowed to say it. If you say it, you will be let go. You will be silenced. You will be punished. You will be ostracized and put to the side. It goes on to say, and if you can't openly talk rank and file level about the real problems, how can you hope to fix them? The board is a problem. Iger is a problem. Key division heads are a problem. Well, here's a compliment from this person. Says, those geeks and gamer guys are funny when they fly off the handle about Kathleen Kennedy still having her job and the perhaps having some dirt on half of Hollywood. But even if they promote her out of Lucasfilm, by now she's wrecked everything under their purview. She's wrecked everything. Acolyte, Ray movies, what? All they have is a thin strand of Filoni Star Wars And if the upcoming shows fail, their plan B after Ray is done. It says, you know something. It's not just management and creatives ideation. Oh, no, no, no. They've actually lost a lot of technical, and this is big, folks, a lot of technical and creative story ability. Forget the woke for a moment. The Mermaid was dark, badly edited, poorly paced, awful music, etc. They've lost key Imagineers, broken key links to past talent in that regard. The brain drain is real. What I mean is that even if they wanted to tell a good story, one that fails its standalone DEI test, I don't know if they could actually make it properly and for a reasonable cost. This person says, in closing, if you really want to see core Disney wreckage, don't look to Lucasfilm or Marvel. Instead, sit back and feast your eyes on the recent Pinocchio, Peter Pan, and Little Mermaid. Then watch the 3 originals. And remember, you're not allowed to say what is causing these properties to fail inside Disney. That is where free speech goes to die. All right, well, that was a lot, Stephen. That was a big message. There's more. We'll talk about more coming up. And, this is not a random person. This is not just an average person reaching out to us. Folks, we're talking about someone who operates at the executive level inside the industry. This is big time. We won't give any more info more about that. And the other source I have, by the way, it verifies this person out of Team Disney. And then we have a third source verifying the same stuff, who we do not have yet permission to release any information about what they're saying, but we'll hold on to it. Stephen, here's the problem. And this is why this is a broad topic. I apologize for going so long without having your input.
It's okay.
But I want to go to you for this. It seems to me that what has happened is that they have built a system inside Disney, inside Lucasfilm, inside these divisions, where you cannot point out what's really the problem. And we've seen that across social media. We've seen that on YouTube. We've seen it on Twitter pre-Musk. We've seen it on various social media sites where you can no longer have free discourse. And the issue there is that if you don't have free discourse, then you have lost the antiseptic for society, because you can say things which are horrendous or which are stupidly wrong. And the chance that some of us say stupidly wrong things is very high because we're human. But the loss of the ability to identify the problems rightfully, and in this case inside Disney, I think is far too high a price to pay in order to have your pristine, happy, conversations where nobody's allowed to bring up what's actually the issue. The safe spaces have too high a cost. Stephen, do you think that this has broader implications throughout our society than just Disney?
Well, you're pretty much telling your workforce that you're censored and just keep doing what you're doing and don't say the Voldemort of the company. That it's mind-boggling, but I can also see it being a possibility within Disney because we've seen their track record. If you're not allowing any type of feedback, even on one topic, that means you're not going to let feedback on any topics, and you're silencing what is called a workforce, what used to be called Imagineers, into nothing more than sheep for a paycheck. I don't think that will last Disney at all.
Well, great points all on that. And, one of the issues here too, folks, is that this seems to be more broad than just Disney. This seems to be something we can apply to all of our lives. It's no fun to have conflict. And the best of us are able to manage conflict in a way that is less abrasive, perhaps. But conflict is necessary. It's a part of life that you cannot escape from. And with Disney and perhaps with the rest of us, we don't need to set up sacred cows that are untouchable. Because if we do, or at least you better be careful what you set those up to be. Because if you do, then you might be shielded from making very good decisions when somebody tells you that you're going in a stupid direction otherwise. Stephen, you got a thought?
Yeah, it's you're saying about conflict. Conflict is not supposed to be taken as a negative term, depending on the environment. Conflict, like opposite opinion or criticism, is there to make you see anything you could have missed and either improve or detract on it. If Disney is not allowing that within their own corporations, as well as other huge corporations out there, then they're pretty much setting up their own runway to failure. They're never going to take off again.
It's a good point. And here's something to think about. Okay, I want to lay out sort of what we're watching across the industry. So when these corporations make big decisions, they take big risks. I'll give you an example. According to one of our sources, and this gets way in the weeds, folks, but this is the kind of stuff that we deal with. Don't often talk about it this resolution, but we'll do it here. It's a great example. Barbie beach towels. they have increased the number of Barbie beach towels for this summer by quintuple. Okay. So, they sell Barbie beach towels all the time. They've sold them for years and years and years. This year, they're quintupled because of the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's the thing. So if the movie does well, and we're talking about past the first weekend, because that's what we're watching. We're all watching to see how Barbie does after the first weekend, because then we know what's going on inside the market, inside society. But if the movie does well, those beach towels are going to do just fine. If the movie fails, then guess what? All those beach towels sit on the shelves and they get marked down and people lose money. And so when you're making these kind of decisions, you're making thousands and thousands and thousands of decisions inside every single corporation. Well, if Disney, is making decisions about beach towels, that would just be the tiniest subset, of decisions that you could make. But if you're making decisions about your movies, let's say about The Little Mermaid, right? Little Mermaid beach towels. And if you can't tell the truth and say, hey guys, our beach towels are not selling, and I think I know why. Here, it doesn't look like the original Little Mermaid. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with iconography. If you can't say that, then you can't fix that. And so if that's a corporate-wide issue, then you can see why Disney is not correcting course. Stephen, question for you on this. I'm just curious. Do you think that Disney is at the place yet where perhaps what we've heard now from 3 different sources, 3 different areas of expertise, perhaps Disney is ready to start listening? Or do you think that this is full speed ahead, take on the iceberg?
I don't think they're ready to listen. If they were ready to listen, it would have happened months ago. The fact that, like you said previously in that email, is that they're not allowed to mention the only looming elephant in the room that seems to be the thing not changed. No, I don't think they will. I think it also falls on the investors, doesn't it, too? Because who invests in them also has a say on what type of the content should be delivered, right?
Let me read to you from another source why they believe that Disney, their strategy, why Disney thinks that they can get away with what they're doing without backlash. Although I think that's obviously patently wrong at this point. But here's what they say. I'm going to be careful what I say about this, because there are some companies here that the platform we're on might not like us discussing.
Okay.
Fun alcoholic beverage company that was currently under a lot of fire discussion. It says the boycott/avoidance of that brand in a consumer backlash movement is based on the fact that the product itself is virtually indistinguishable from its main competitors in blinds. Okay. And they're talking about Coors and Miller, and all available at the same distribution points, virtually side by side at retail with similar identical pricing under normal circumstances. In other words, avoiding that beverage that's been under fire is very easy because there is very little inconvenience to the light beer consumer. But it says that Disney, on the other hand, avoiding Disney is a major inconvenience. And so perhaps the folks at the Walt Disney Company assume that consumers would be too burdened by trying to boycott them, and therefore they're not worried about it. Although at this point, with 70% reduction in revenues, box office revenues from 2019 to 2023, perhaps it's time to get worried. What do you think, Stephen? Is it easy to drop some of these items and hard to drop others? And does that determine who gets boycotted and who doesn't?
I don't think that's the case at all. We've already seen the turn on Disney just with simple things like protests in California. Till now, you're seeing what a drop in the Disney Plus. You're seeing their content not even hitting the Nielsen numbers like they used to. And the stuff that does is the original stuff they've had out for years. Nothing new is selling. If everything was working fine, why have they canceled and or vaulted things like Willow and everything else that technically were trying to do the same thing? No. And yet
they're destroying their most popular items, i.e. when they take Splash Mountain, the most popular attraction in the world per polling that we have seen. Third-party polling, not us putting out a little poll on Twitter or anywhere. We're talking about actual real polling, from real companies that do this for a living. They looked into it and found that, well, Splash Mountain was the most popular attraction in the world. They're destroying that. And so, it's like, it's not good enough to just fail at the new stuff we're making. By golly, we're going to go out there and crash down and burn the things that people loved. And so it's just ridiculous. But just to summarize this story, though, Stephen, over and over and over, we get asked on this channel, okay, but why, Pro? Why? Why is Disney doing this? Why don't they change? What is it going to take? And it seems to me that we've got the reasons now sort of given to us. One, they can't have open, free discourse inside the company. Employees are afraid to say what's really going on because they could face real consequences. So then they don't say what's really going on with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a company that also thinks that they're impervious to the boycott, perhaps because it's so inconvenient to boycott them. And then you've got the situation with Disney where they also believe truly at the top. They believe in this stuff at a fundamental quasi-religious level, or at least a political level. So I think that's it. Stephen, is there any other reasons that you can come up with why Disney does not do what surely people who like money would do in this situation and change course?
I think it also has to bottom down to ego.
Oh, yes, hubris. You are exactly right.
I think the more you throw other reasons why things aren't working out, like blaming the audience or the viewer or the critics or Wall Street or whoever you want to blame, and try to subterfuge what's actually going on, means just stubbornness. It's plain stubbornness. Nothing is immortal. We're humans. Even our companies are man-made. There's a saying that goes, everything man-made breaks. So technically, we're all VCRs hoping we just don't break that day. Disney's on that breaking path. So's other ones.
Well, you know, there's a famous fable, of course, the emperor has no clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that fable is all about the importance of free speech, the importance of being able to say something that is contentious, that is abrasive, that is not welcomed, and the necessity of it, because, you know, that scales all the way across society from the top levels, right? So that could be your king, your royalty, your CEO, your president, what have you, whoever's at the top of any given endeavor. If you are unable to talk to them and explain to them why something is going wrong without fear for your life or your career, then that individual, left to their own devices, because they are then inculcated into their own mind, they'll make poor decisions because they don't have the brain power to know, hey, I'm being led astray right now. And so this really is a case where Iger needs people underneath him to say the hard things, to say the difficult things, because otherwise this company is going down. And that will have here's the thing, Stephen, that will have an incalculable impact on the people below Iger, way below Iger, right? It's the people at low-level management and lower who will suffer the most.
There's also something else that's connected that I think maybe it pertains. The way, let's look at Disney, because it seems to be the highlight here. Disney keeps putting out products that keep failing and not doing the income or the making back the budget spent. And that's going to trickle down not just to employees and lower downs. It is going to attract things like platforms like YouTube, who sell their films, where you rent their films off of, and other places they're licensed to. So eventually, these platforms that actually license the ownerships for movies for rent or whatever, they're also going to get affected because no one's going to buy it off their platform. So if no one's renting them, how are they going to make back any type of the money for the licensing they asked for? This is going to have a big spider web effect.
You're exactly right. And folks, we have a whistleblower. It's not the first time we've had a whistleblower on the channel, but we have a whistleblower. We are working very diligently on a way to bring forth what they have to say. They are alleging that there is a vast connection between marketing, merchandising, advertising, and hitting DEI initiatives. We will work very hard to get that whistleblower brought out in a way that keeps them safe. Be watching for that this weekend, although it may go past, as we work to do this in the most safe manner possible. All right, one thing that is definitely safe for all of you out there is going to Stephen's channel. Stephen, where can we find you on this great, big, beautiful web?
Oh, most of the time now you can find me an hour on YouTube, and the rest of the stream will continue on Rumble every morning and every evening, around 7 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Eastern.
Every day he's rumbling.
Appreciate the growth. We're at 500 right now, but there is also a new project coming back that's an old project, and I will announce it once I get the panel together. So stay tuned and be careful of the lurking shadows. That's my hint.
There you go. And folks, don't forget, too, that Stephen is behind all of the art that you see on the Valiant Renegade channel, on this channel, on Renegade Online, on That Park Place. He is truly a man of incredible talent, and we are blessed to have him each and every day with us, just like we are blessed to have all of you. And folks, if you wouldn't mind, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. The conversation here has come to a close, but the commentary, well, it begins. Folks, we covet your comments. We care about what you think. Drop a comment down below and let us know what it is you have to say, because what you have to say really does matter. And in light of this topic, well, folks, your criticisms are welcomed here. I mean, don't take us down and be cruel, but if you have some critical criticisms, some constructive criticisms, drop them down. We care about it. We're listening. Well, folks, the Pro Show is every Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursdays, and we hope you'll be there wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Make sure to catch the Pro Show Thursdays 5 to 7 Eastern Time. Entertainment Explained, The Culture Curve Conquered, live with Pro and all his friends.